Fun fact, Zombie Grub. Someone tweeted at me informing me that the Twitter account Huck is trying to obtain is actually owned by a German insurance company. It's not inactive like I had previously assumed. Bit of a awkward coincidence, I guess, naming yourself Huck. Maybe they were big fans 5 years ago. I don't know, but here we are in the IEM Sao Paulo qualifiers. We're at the end of the day. We're almost done. Got a few games left. This last best of 5, the winner of this goes on with a fully paid trip by ESL to go over to Brazil and fight for North America. But that aside, I'm Rifkin, joined by Zombie Grub, and spawning here in the lower left corner of the map, playing for his own, not team, but sponsor, CM Storm. I give you Polt.
And in the upper right, as the blue Protoss, it is EG's Huck.
Find him on Twitter at Loranger Chris. Again, I apologize to him or any of his fans if I'm pronouncing that wrong, because it could go like really white. But like, you can find him on Twitter at Loranger Chris.
Dude, but, I was gonna say, you know he's a born American, right?
Yeah, but I'm still trying to be like I don't know, cool about it.
You said that he was like from the French part of Canada, and I was like, well, his family is from America, isn't it? Or maybe his mom was. I don't know.
Oh, I could be wrong. I thought he was. Because he's like, he is Canadian, I know that much.
Yeah, he has a dual citizenship, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't he just Canadian, like straight up?
Really? I thought he was, because he was born in America. Oh well.
Google, hang on, Huck SC2, I'm pretty sure. Let me check this.
Are you serious?
Okay, he is dual citizenship, you're right, I'm wrong. I was... Alright, anyways.
Per the usual.
That actually makes this a little more interesting. Yeah, per the usual. That actually makes this a little more interesting though, because of course Puck is like the dual American / Korean, and Huck is the dual American / Canadian. So he's a little more North American than Huck, or than Polt in that regard. Can he be the true foreign hope, Zombie Grub?
Did a Canadian just say that he's more American? Canada is in America.
I said North. I said North American.
Oh, you did.
So you come on, Zombie. Okay. We're having some fun with this, guys, but realistically, this game has started. It's underway. We do have 2 gas on each for Huck. But again, Polt going with the SUV Scout very, very early, following it up with a Reaper. He knows how important scouting information is. Oh, boy, does he know in a big way.
Yeah. Go see a Zealot making. Of course, it could always be canceled. Usually, if they see the Zealot, they're too paranoid. Yeah, he actually cronens it out. The Engineer Bay block would go down, and maybe that is Polt's like hope that the Zealot is not coming, but in both games, it has actually popped out. Engineer Bay blocks can be very, very annoying to deal with when you don't get that Zealot.
Yeah. Mothership Core popping out will kill the SUV here, too. And, of course, there's no way to retreat, because if he does, the Zealot is waiting for him on the ramp, so Huck has got this on lockdown.
Oh, Stalker will be able to take care of it. This does give enough time. Although most Terrans know the exact timing of when they should have a bunker down and ready to go by the time the Stalker, Zealot, Mothership Core poke comes, but on the off chance he didn't, he will definitely have it down now, so it has delayed a little bit.
Bunker coming up again at a bit of a anti-Zombie Grub spot, but still good that he has it nonetheless.
Whatever, you got a problem with it too.
I know. This is actually going to be a little more important than normal, though, because, of course, this is Huck coming across the map with a Stalker, Zealot, and a Mothership. Or Mothership Core, I should say. No one makes a Mothership anymore. There's only a Reaper in here, so you can walk past this quite easily. There's 2 Marines waiting from the top of the ramp, sure. 4 Marines even, but the Mothership Core in and of itself already takes on 3. If there's a Stalker and a Zealot in the mix, these get destroyed.
I feel like he might have been waiting for the Stalker to run past, so it would have been a surprise going up the ramp, and he would have been maybe able to take it down. But as it is, nothing actually happens, so mind games on mind games.
You know
Huck
what?
is getting a Twilight Council, though.
I'm going to interrupt you to be smug. Because we even have Maximus Blackface bombing you in chat here. There's not a lot of us Canadians out there. But damn you, Zombie Grub, for keeping us down.
Zombie Grub confirmed Canadian hater.
Confirmed? Yeah. Alright, Reaper Dancer, I'm still not getting a lot done. Sadly, he's been driven back at this point. Man, I don't get to be smug often, so I'm sorry for lapsing in the victory. But unfortunately for Puck, while he's not getting a lot of scouting, Puck is not, or sorry, not Puck, doing it again. Huck is not doing anything too out of the ordinary. If I didn't know we were casting Puck next, this wouldn't be as big of a problem, I'm telling you. But with 3 gates coming down, sorry, 4 gates in total, and Blink, this could become a problem quickly. At the moment for Polt, 4 gates is not something to be winced at, but it's that Blink he has to be worried about. This is Derelict Watcher. There is enough space over here. You can blink from the low ground to the high ground. It's very Well, not problematic to use Blink is what I'm trying to say in a very awkward way.
Yeah, it's one of the best maps, of course, with Star Station. To do a Blink Stalker all-in or just aggression, which this is what it is, right? It's just going to be aggressive. It's not going to be an all-in off of 7 gateways or anything like that. If the opportunity is there, Huck could warp in a lot of Blink Stalkers and try and bust him. But, otherwise, Polt's probably going to have, enough to deal with 4 gateways anyways. But you can use it. It's not going to get the scout off. No way.
Oh, I think it just might. Oh, no, the Stalker's warping in. Is he going to
It's 4 gateways, though. Does he see the gateways?
He sees 3.
That's still enough to tell.
Blink just got revealed. He just revealed Blink too.
Oh.
To kill that Reaper.
Whatever.
Okay, so now we got a bunker
Blink.
coming down on the high ground, bunker on the low ground, a second one actually. The nice thing about this is the mothership core has been so slow due to being distracted by that Reaper, even for a few seconds, that it's delayed. So Huck can't jump up here immediately. That being said, Polt's bunker is not done. He's got a couple of Marauders. He should be able to take this fight.
Yeah, in fact, the mothership core seeing this is not going to try and go up there. As I said, if he saw an opportunity, he might blink in
I like that blink,
really
though.
try and do damage.
Time warp on the ramp, claims the bunker, has to get out from the second one. The SVs are here to repair.
Just poking, really. It's going to keep Huck or Polt a little paranoid, but once medevacs are out, all he's got to do is worry about the backstab. Like in terms of actually taking on the army, he's not going to be too afraid.
This is really nice, too, for Huck, guys. Please keep in mind, look at his worker count. It's not like he cut off of this. It's not like he's one basing. This is a 2-base, super duper amount of Blink. He'll probably go Colossus after this and be set for the late game. If he can cause a lot of damage now, fantastic. It looks like, gonna go for the bunker. Tries to get pulled off guard. Pulled immediately repairing those. There's just a few too many SCVs here.
Yeah. And Huck's not, warping in any more Stalkers. So as I said, now, you're not going to really commit to it off of 4 gateways, but if you can find any damage, then go ahead and do it. It goes, Polt, his medevac time is going to be later. He's going to be a little more paranoid pushing out. It's going to really help have, let Huck have control of this game and do whatever he wants back home. 2 extra gateways are going down with that Robo, though, bringing up to a total of 6, I believe. Probably just enough to have the, good production when he gets that third. It should be a later third. Obviously, it's not going to go down at very early, but it's so hard to get the third that oftentimes you'll see it just a little bit later on this map.
Polt's still playing a little bit defensively. Finally loads up some medevacs. I mean, the biggest thing, too, is, you never... Oh, it's going to get revealed. Now Huck knows what's coming. He'll probably bring the Stalkers back to try and intercept it around the third. What I was going to say, though, for Polt, he would have loved to have dropped out sooner, but of course, if he does, then he risks the Blink just continuing to powerhouse through. He didn't know how much of an all-in this was or wasn't coming out of Huck.
Yeah. Huck might be able to... I would hate that Polt would fall for this. Yeah, no, he doesn't. So he unloads. If he actually went in and Huck got those 2 medevacs, I wouldn't have believed it was Polt.
Yeah. I am feeling the same sentiment. But the same at the same card here for Polt, he's not been able to do this. It's not like Belshire, you can rip your opponent apart so easily, but he can still get those drops off and be a pain in the butt. That much is for sure. 1 Marine will scout this. Better to lose the Marine than a medevac. Still going to lose a medevac anyways. Great snipe there out of Huck, and he should be able to blink back behind the force fields. Oh, these suckers just waiting for the cooldown. Okay, this gets out alive anyways. But with the Immortals here, he's going to absolutely do a great job of busting through the Marauders. The Marauders are not that big of a threat. If he takes out these medevacs, then the Marines are kind of irrelevant. There's a lot of Zealots here. Can the force fields be good? Guardian Shield needs to go down on top of this, but it doesn't cover much of the army. But that's more than enough with those force fields. Great blink forward here out of Huck, and looks like Polt's going to lose everything. Couldn't even pick up and lift off because he knew the second he did, the Stalkers would do what they just did and kill the medevacs. Now with a very few amount of Marauders trying to basically run for their lives, Polt's in full retreat, and Huck is looking so strong in this game.
Yeah. Remember, he has 6 gateways behind us, so if he sees an opening, he can definitely try and commit. Though I think he's just going to go ahead and try and get that third down now. Again, it's a little bit later. He was, he had to be very cautious about when he put that down because it would be sniped otherwise. But now is a great opportunity to do so. Also going to go up to that storm. And, usually at this point, the Terran would want to have a really sizable army that they could engage and also dodge. But Polt's army is so small now that he's going to have to wait for Ghosts to actually do anything against that storm.
I'm a little scared of the wall Polt has erected here. This is some important tech buildings. Polt gonna actually chase these Stalkers back for the time being. A little harassment here at the third, but the armory and the engineering bay be on the front lines like this, I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of health, but if these get sniped, that could really kill them because upgrades in this matchup are more important than anything else.
Yeah, when people were blocking off the front with 2 engineering bays and TVZ, I never liked that either.
Yeah.
But,
Last thing you want to do is be like on 3-3, 10 seconds from finishing. Oops, goodbye. You put it in a stupid spot. But middle of the map, still trying to dance around. Huck really trying to use the mobility of Blink to his advantage, but another stim might. Oh, it's going to be off cooldown in a second, but here's a lot of Zealots. They don't have charge, but there is a Storm behind this.
Yeah, Polt's got to run away from that. Again, just assume that they have Storm and run away. What can Polt do right now? I think right now his best option is, of course, he cannot take the army head on. Just doesn't have enough units for that. But if he starts that multi-pronged harass, starts dropping everywhere, then he can definitely be in a good situation. And this is a good map for it. So Polt does lit up 3 medevacs as I say it. And this could do a lot. Oh, but Huck with a Star Sense or something?
He's
just stalkers.
I think he's anticipating, like, because he sent half his army over here, expecting to drop at the 3rd, anticipating to come to the north. This is one of the things that he's sort of picked up against playing against Polt, where he's going to hit. Like, if nothing's happening in the middle of the map, chances are he's splitting drops, and unfortunately moves out of position just a little too soon. And now the medevac's coming into the there's 2 cannons. There's 2 cannons. This will help a little bit, but his whole army's in the middle and not prepared for this. In fact, he doesn't even see this unloading until it's too late. Goes for the Templar Archives immediately. That's going to cut out Storm production. Big push coming from the front. So unfortunately, Huck is forced to split his forces once again, and the Zealots in the main are not enough. Photon Overcharge does go down, but Polt is looking pretty darn good with these Marauders.
You know, I like what Huck's doing, though. He's split very effectively. Other Protosses that we've seen have just straight out lost to Nexus to something like this, but he split very, very well. Lost Templar Archives, yeah, that kind of sucks. He wants to make sure to remake that. But he at least has a few Storms already in his pocket, and he's going to go up to Colossus instead later on, maybe and reinvest into those Templar Archives.
That's actually something kind of cool, too. I want to throw that out there. Like, the expectation after a Blink fail all-in, or however you want to refer to the way this opened, like, you'd expect him to go to, like, Colossus or something to complement the Blink, but instead, Huck has, he's even got a Warp in over here on the main base of Polt. Going to be chasing this around for a little bit. No armor upgrades, though, purely weapons, so these Zealots will not actually live for that long. Kind of a cute move to focus down the supply depot that had supply dropped on it. Of course, this is really going to hurt Polt, actually.
Well, it doesn't quite supply block him, and hopefully Polt will be dropping more, but that Ore Prism does live for now. As the Vikings pop out, it will probably die. But on 3 base economy, he can feel confident to, you know, invest into that more, even if it does die.
Again, the later Colossus, I actually really like this idea, because I think Polt was setting up, he didn't produce a ton of Vikings, so we saw him put those starports early, so he was definitely expecting the Colossus to come out behind the Blade Stalkers. Really love that Huck ended up going for Storm. Kind of sucks, though, that now, after picking out the Templar Archives, Polt knew that there's one option, is make Colossus.
Yeah. Well, he's not quite in a high Viking count yet, but there's not really a high Colossus count yet either, so it's going to work out pretty well. Upgrades are also going to be actually in favor, as I believe Huck's only working off of 1 forge, so eventually it's going to be in favor of Polt.
Yeah, the resources lost actually looking pretty good for Huck at this point, too, I want to say. We've got Archons coming in, some cannons at the base, too. He's not over-investing in cannons to the point where he's really scared of drops. He's not going to waste the resources, because Huck, I want to point out, he's never floated minerals at any point in this game. His macro has been quite impressive from start to finish.
You know, after losing that big chunk of army, like, I feel like Huck's always been in command of this game, but you got to give it to Polt coming back after losing that huge chunk of army that he did. I mean, Huck didn't really try and press his advantage or anything like that, but still trying to do what he can to come back from such a large chunk of his army gone.
Not from so much a commentating and analytical position, but from like a fan perspective, I really like the way Huck's been using these Stalkers. They haven't been doing much, but picking off the odd unit here or there, not losing a lot of them. Well, of course, as I say, that loses one of them, but it's just that if the advantage was there, he'd pick off a medevac. He'd blink forward for sure. He's just been using them around the map. This has been the same thing as having speedlings roaming around, essentially, just for like a little bit of map control. But now Force, oh, that Mothership Core has to be careful. Oh, he's going to go for the second time warp on top of the Ghosts. Now he's going to push forward. There's not enough storms here, but the EMPs are plentiful. The Archons lose their Hardened Shield immediately, but there's so many more storms towards the north. The Colossus doing a ton of damage with their twin beams, and the Immortals will push this back. The last one EMP left, but the Ghost is about to die. Archon still pushing forward. Huck is going to pursue his advantage. The Colossus, why aren't they fighting? They're walking right by the army. Turns around to take the fight in the end, and if he had a few more Stalkers, he'd certainly pick off these medevacs, but that was such a good engagement for Huck.
Yeah, the EMPs never went down on the storms, so the storms landed, like, perfectly.
So well, yeah.
Polt tried to take the best of a bad situation towards the end there, so that went okay. As you can see, the supplies are still relatively even, but Huck still has he's been in command in this game, and he still has a lot of high tech units, so it's still looking really good for Huck. Hasn't detected that Polt has gotten a fourth though. It's just finished. Hopefully he will put a pylon down somewhere so we can start that harassment again.
It was a little bit scary there, too, for a moment. Of course, Huck was scouting to see if it was safe to go for the Nexus instead of just plopping it down. There are 4 Marauders here, and I don't believe Polt saw Huck scout him, so he's going to lose this drop potential. And that's this is the presence that Polt needs on this half of the map. So this will go down, doesn't even take anything with it, sadly destroyed, and this will give Huck a 4th base. Meanwhile, towards the south, as you stated, Polt just recently establishing this, got a planetary fortress coming up, and I don't know, it's weird to say, but Huck has forced Polt to fight him head on. That's not something you can easily do. I mean, you wish you had a taunt button, right? But no, not against someone like Polt. But Huck's managed to do it so far this game.
Yeah. Polt would really obviously not want to be fighting straight up until he's in a very good position. He wants to keep being that harasser and stuff, but unfortunately just never finding the situation this time. Huck's been just too good on his defense. And Polt is going to potentially set up a surround, but right now is just playing split up, and Huck could take advantage of this.
Huck's trying to chase down those medevacs. The advantage of the Blink Stalkers. The army, though, is completely deathballed at this point, which is a little bit scary because this is where Polt starts dropping, right? But instead, he's forced to deal with this aggressive army coming out of Huck. Something that, he's just not in a position to do.
Polt's on the other side. His army, unfortunately, he didn't recognize that was going to happen, so his army was still kind of out of position, but they're trying to go over to the 3rd, and they stopped. Okay, that's fine.
I think
they could have tried, but oh well.
I think we're getting towards that climax of the game, though. I mean, not because players are maxed out, but because it's finally getting to that point where Huck has shown Polt that you are not getting around me any way, shape, or form, whether it's control the watchtower, the perfect observer positioning, or just sick game sense as we saw towards the north earlier. I mean, Polt's greatest tactical advantage when you go bio is dropping, and there's been one good drop this game?
Yeah, one decent drop.
Yeah. Side note.
That's it.
Oh, Zombie Grub side note, 7K hype! Guys, we broke 7,000 viewers for the IEM Sao Paulo Qualifiers. I want to thank every single one of you for tuning in. Hopefully we can keep the number going from here, even though we're almost done with the day. But this is still game 2 in this best of 5. We still got a lot of good games to come for sure. Alright, well, the Zealot run by was cleaned up thanks to the Planetary Fortress damage. Looks like this base should fall, though. The full army, the full brunt of Huck's army is right here on Polt's doorstep, and unfortunately, not ready to come in from behind just yet. He's intercepted by some Zealots that came in to reinforce.
He's setting up a very nice situation for him, though. If Huck... Oh, he's already passed it, though, so that's not going to happen. Still, could take a nice engagement with just the army that Polt has off to the left. We'll want to regroup with the rest, though.
A Mothership Core for a recall would be so sick right now.
It might be the best option, honestly. Oh, a Colossus for free.
Ooh.
Thanks, Huck.
Oh, Huck. A little bit of miscontrol there. Gonna get caught off on the retreat again. This is not a preferable position. Coming from multiple angles, engaging from the south, actually has to wrap around the terrain, so that's not gonna work for Polt. And because of this, he loses his army to the north.
Didn't go that badly. Still retains so many of Colossus that actually went pretty darn well.
Well, this is awkward. In the top left.
Yeah, I know, right?
If Huck wasn't supply blocked, he of course would warp in some, or not supply block, supply max, I should phrase it, so it sounds a little bit less like it's a mistake. Dark Shrine coming out's kind of a cool thing to have this late in the game. David Kim would be smiling and grinning and laughing like a cheeky bug right now, but there we go, we have the warp in finally make its way over. Zealot's going to take out a couple of the SCVs. Does have charge, does have three level 3 weapon upgrade, or armor upgrades on the way here in just a moment's time. This is looking worse and worse for Polt. I mean, typically in this sort of scenario, with Polt's momentum, it'd be like the later the game goes, the worse it is for Huck. Unless Polt can win decisively on one big badass engagement, I think Polt might lose this game. It's too early to call, of course. He's got a lot of Vikings, and a big engagement might go in his favor, but the harass potential from Huck seems to be that much greater than Polt's.
Really, look at the mid game. I would have expected Huck to win for sure, but Polt's really bringing it back to a point where you're right. If he takes one decisive engagement, the momentum could swing easily. So this could be it. The planetary is going to definitely help out. The second command center, while not anything, still helps out against the the Sim
Surface
City
area, yeah. Hawk probably going to concentrate his forces towards the north. I think if one thing Hawk could really do to like lock down this game is start starving Polt out. I mean, Polt, of course, muling like a madman this whole game, is going to have his third mind out much earlier than Huck's. I mean, Huck's third base actually still looks pretty good.
Surprisingly, yeah. It's also going up to 5th base now.
But perhaps tunneling to the north isn't the greatest idea because a giant engagement is going to be forced here in the middle of the map. The observer does see this coming, and Hawk is looking for a spot to engage. There's so many ghosts. There's so many Vikings. Double
right between
zipping
those
out.
2 scans, man.
That time warp by lapsing on top of himself, perhaps not the best, but the storms are good and the Colossus beams are better. Now it's just Vikings in the air. These are going to have to land if they want to help this fight. However, the Immortals are going to chase back the few Marauders that are left, and if the Vikings land, of course, they get destroyed by the Immortals. Our Huck's warp is going to be enough to keep them in this. That was a big, decisive engagement, and that definitely went in the favor of Polt. Losing all those Colossus sucks for someone like Huck. That's a really slow production.
Yeah, well, he's still producing 2 of them at a time, but luckily, Polt did retain his Vikings, and that's very, very important. He lost all of his ghosts, but High Templars aren't that aplenty, so it should be okay.
Charge lots. The Immortals look like they're in danger for a moment, but the charge lots change this around in a heartbeat. Now trying to kite his best around this. The Vikings in the air are still awkwardly not able to contribute to the fight, sadly. I mean, so on one hand, Polt could land these and probably kill a couple Stalkers, but he'd lose the Vikings, of course, in the process. The downside is he needs to keep these alive for any possible Colossus remaking. But Hawk finally investing in some Dark Templar. There is a turret down though, so it's going to be limited on what it can do.
Yeah. That one big engagement, by the way, Polt was like so close to EMPing all of the High Templars, just a little misclick, and I wonder if that would have been enough for Polt to have been like 20 supply up and actually push to at least do damage. But now, of course, he's still down at 40 supply, still having a hard time getting a great economy, and these DTs are going to even further limit that by taking away the mule power.
You know, what I'd like to see, too, is there's something Grubby does where he actually warp prisms around the High Templar to make sure they can't get EMP'd. That might be a cool tactic to embrace at this stage of the game, but no ghosts here in the north, so it's going to be a little irrelevant. Ghosts, of course, are actually incredibly expensive. It's going to be difficult for Polt to remax on those.
It's almost like he doesn't want to. I would hate to think that he was forgetting, but he definitely scans and sees, yes, there are still, in fact, High Templar, and even just the Charge Out Archon is enough that you would need ghosts. Just can't afford it.
This base might finally go down. It's going to add a lot of damage, though. This is probably the best place Polt could possibly take a fight against this army. That being said, though, the storms are a little too good. The Colossus are too strong, and the Immortals will break this base. With this falling, Polt has established the base towards the south. Going to pick off one of the Colossus, but he just doesn't have an army to follow this up with, down to 65 army supply. Moving through the middle of the map, hoping to get a counterattack off, but there's Dark Templar that are going to be waiting for him.
Yeah, this is going to be... desperation move here. I'm surprised he's not pulling all the SCVs. Still has 33 of them, which would be usually at 31 minutes. That's okay because they'll have like a lot of orbitals and a good economy. But right now, he actually would love to have more like 50, 60.
Gets a couple of probes here, stepping forward, but almost might have been better suited to ignore them as here comes the army of Hug right on his tail. Knows he's got to get some damage done. Goes for the... Ooh, I like the snipe with the Robo Bay, but it might be too late. Another big blink forward, aggressively on top of this. Polt's going to try and get as much tech as he can before he boosts on out. If he can even boost on out. Again, these are blink stalkers. If he kills enough of them, maybe he's a little more safe to be maneuverable, but meanwhile, it looks like counterattack. This one lone Dark Templar with no detection is slowly chipping away at this planetary fortress. And of course, it's the last thing that's on Polt's mind right now. 3 cannons might catch these medevacs if he's not careful. This is pretty much the last bit of Polt's army he's relying on. Loses one of the medevacs full. Oh, this is not looking good, Zombie Grub.
The planetary also was saved, by the way, so at least that's something going for Polt. Trying to get a good army behind this as well. Again, is not getting those ghosts. Even for why would you afford a Raven but not a ghost? I don't know.
Detection, I guess, for the Dark Templar. One thing
I guess.
One thing I do like, by the way, like being so far ahead of chat because of the delay we have to use for IEM. People constantly say, "Oh, it's over." Oh wait, no, now it's over. Oh wait, now it's over. Like this game has been insane in the span of just a few moments. But with the planetary fortress go down, Polt officially has no bases left to mine from. His third base has got less than 2 patches left, basically. This is one last desperate push in the top to cause some real damage. But if this goes down, if his army falls, it's already so low. This could be the end of the game. In fact, this looks like it is going to be the end of the game. Even in a base race, a base trade scenario, Hawk has got just such a superior army force. But
he could probably warp on enough DTs to take up all the scans. So it's going to be game over. Polt just really trying to, I don't know.
But this is game 2. This is Hawk only merely tying it up. He played a great game this time for sure. We'll see if the momentum can carry forward to game number 3. There's a hell of a lot of Archons here. This is going to be the scariest thing to see. Good game. Huck will tie this up 1-1.